Alright. Welcome to Uniracers. So, Uniracers is a very didn't get a whole lot of popularity, partly due to a lawsuit with Pixar. Um, there were 6 bronze medals. To continue through and unlock everything, you have to first get 4 bronze medals, and that'll learn the next 2 tours. Each set of tracks is called a tour. And then once you get 6 silver medals, then you'll unlock the next 2 tours. And once you get 8 gold medals, then you'll have the last one that you can race. And it looks like our players have decided on picking the same track order for their progression through. Normally, as a casual player, you might start with the easiest tour, Crawler. But for speed purposes, it's just a little faster to go through the menus. And it's better to front load your more difficult tracks. So that's why you're seeing Hopper first. So this is a track called Wario Paint. It's a great name. And it's the Wario Paint refers to that little goo on the ground that the players are trying to jump over. Now the track itself kind of tells you what's coming up next through the use of colors. So in the case of this long, straight, green, blue track, that typically means everything. Okay, you can start doing stunts now. If you're seeing red and blue, and it's kind of thin together like that, red and blue in general means don't jump. But red and blue, where they're like smaller stripes, means that you're about to change direction. So, and then with the Wario Paint, that's the yellow and orange. You're trying to jump over. Sorry about that. Trying to adjust some audio settings there. Hopefully I'm not cutting out a bit anymore. Yeah, that's correct. In Europe, this game is called Unirally. So you can see the gameplay is a lot like Sonic the Hedgehog, except you're unicycle. There's no enemies. There's no RNG whatsoever in this game. You're racing against another unicycle, ghost unicycle as we call it. And there's 3 levels of well, 4. There's 4 levels of Ghost Unicycle. There's Bronzen for the bronze medal, Sylvia for the silver medal, and Goldwyn for the gold medal. And then in the very last tour, you race against the Anti-Uni. It was still a unicycle. When I was a kid, I thought it was going to be a bicycle. Turns out they weren't that creative. This is a stunt track, and the whole purpose of a stunt track is to waste 45 seconds of time while you wait after you do your stunt and get your score. The stunt track thresholds are very low, especially in the easier difficulties. You can actually do standing tricks and get past these. Now, all of your tricks have diminishing returns, meaning so like your first, roll city might give you 16 points, but then the next one is going to give you 8 points, and the next one 4, and then 2, and then 1. So you do have to vary things up a little bit. And speaking of stunts, I haven't really explained why you're doing stunts in the first place. So whenever you do a stunt, the unicycle gets a bit of a boost. And that boost slowly counts down over time, unless you go off camera or near the edge of the camera, in which case it drops down quite significantly. So you either need to be able to build up a lot of boost at once, which Fly on the right side is particularly adept at doing, you'll see him fly off of the camera at times. It looks like, yeah, there he goes. Let's see. So yeah, if you can build up that boost in a very short time, then you can actually fly off the camera. Otherwise, you'll be kind of stuck within the confines of the camera. The camera moves at about 15 pixels per frame, so there's almost a speed limit there. Really, the trick to gaining time in this game is figuring out when you can do the speed boosts at the most advantageous time. And this track is Hairpin Hill. The only track that I have a record left on. Fly has taken them all from me, and my record is tied by him. Fly is a very good player. Jer is also a very good player, as you can see. His race time for this category is pretty close. I would say it's still anyone's game at this point. I know Fly is a little riskier of a player. I expect to see him go for some shortcuts that may end up losing him some time if he doesn't nail them the first time. So, hang on to your seats. Yeah, I find this game more fun than Sonic because you don't have, those pesky things like enemies and stuff like that. You're just going fast all the time. Like, if every Sonic stage was Stardust Speedway Act 3, where it's literally just a race with another robot or something, and then you just die if you lose, I think Sonic would be a more fun game. But I think there's a lot of people that like Sonic that would disagree, So we've moved on. We are in the third tour, and it's worth noting that there are different types of races. So this one is called a race. A race is just a straight start line, finish line, no laps. Okay. Then there's circuits, which ping pong is a circuit. And it's going to say over 3 laps on, whatever track. It says over because you start a little behind the start line, right? And you see just a beautiful shortcut through that loop by Flyhack. Usually when there's loops like that, there's a way to shortcut through them. This first loop, unfortunately, the arrows are just a little bit too long. When you're on the arrows, you have no control over your unicycle. So you're not able to do any shortcuts. But on that second loop, the arrows are short enough where if you're going full speed, you can jump over them and just skip the loop. And that saves a good, 2-3 seconds. So every time he gets that, he's just piling on more time. Fun fact, you cannot name your character Sonic in this game. If you try and name your character Sonic, the game says not cool enough. You also can't make references to the word ball or various curse words. Back to another stunt race. This is a good nap time for the runners. Catch up on some Z's, recharge their energy for the. It's not going to be difficult to beat the computer racers for these players, but it is going to be difficult to beat each other, and that's what we're going for. It looks like at this moment, Fly is ahead by about 15 seconds. As I said, though, it's really anyone's game. Kind of a little disappointed to not see him maybe try and be a little swaggier and try and build up some points, but You know, it's a good time to, you know, check your auctions, you know, maybe swipe right a few times. You know, really take care of yourself as a person. This game came out in 1994, so it was about the same time as Donkey Kong Country. That really that play it loud era of Super Nintendo advertising, and the soundtrack really kind of harkens back to that time. I think it's a great soundtrack. There's some really nice tracks in here. I'm trying to remember where all the shortcuts are. There have been a lot of new shortcuts discovered recently by Fly here, and it's hard to keep up with some of the developments. But you know, you can see he's putting the built-in shortcuts to very good use. I did mention about the track colors. Green and blue is normal. Red and blue is don't jump. Yellow and blue is either you're about to cross the finish line, and so this is like the home stretch, or it means there's a shortcut coming up. And if there's a shortcut coming up, then the stripes will eventually get smaller, and then they'll turn solid yellow. And that's when you're supposed to jump for your shortcut. So I think they did a lot of really cool things with this game, and I wish they could have developed it further with like a sequel or something like that. But as unfortunately, you know, litigation had to ruin that one for us. It's sad because I mean the Uniracers have a lot of nice personality to them too. You see the victory dances that they do, or the pouting that the Ghost Unicycle is doing when it loses. Too cool to get a sequel. That's right. Bike Racer. I feel like that was already game. Like there's some physics games that use like motorcycles and stuff like that. I've seen it past marathons, and those are interesting looking games. But shortcut by Fly, had to hesitate a little there to get it, but he did get it. So I think it was worth. It probably was a wash for time, honestly. And let's see if Jared can get it. No, he did not. So the stunts in the game are like a front flip is called a roll, a backwards flip is called a flip, and then you can turn your you can turn your unicycle either with the A button and an arrow button, or just manually press left and right. That's a twist, and then the X button will let you do a Z flip. So that's kind of rotating your unicycle laterally. 180-degree rotation is one Z flip. So you can do a Z flip. If you hold R, you can do like a standing Z flip. And then if you turn it halfway and then turn it back, so like if you just tap the X button for a little bit, hold it for at least 3 frames, and then turn it back, you get a tabletop. And then if this only applies to the stunt tracks. Well, I mean, you can do a head bounce anywhere. So if you hold the Z flip button, if you hold the X button, and let yourself land with it, and you're standing still, you get a head bounce out of that, which we just see Fly do right there. What Fly has been doing very commonly is on his straightaways, he's turning backwards. This only works if you're going right. So he's turning left, and then he's jumping. And then that tricks the game into thinking that he's doing a backwards flip. And this is important because the flip gives you more boost, and it gives you more points in the stunt than a roll does. Uniracers 2, this time. There has also been a TAS of this game. I hesitate to use the words in progress. Really, truly, there's a task that I kind of plug away at every, about every half decade. Get really bored. Let's do a level in Uniracers. And you can get some pretty crazy stuff when you can control your boost perfectly. An upcoming track, Infinity, the task for that, the entire last lap is off the screen. And so it's just most of the levels end up being, let's build up as much boost as we can. Okay, we're close enough to the finish line that we can let go of our boost and it'll work. I think it's pretty entertaining. I have a few encodes of the levels on my YouTube channel. If you want to take a look at that. Here's Infinity, by the way. I bet you can figure out why it's called Infinity. It's because there's 7 laps, and that's too many. It may as well be Infinity. So, and you're going to hear when Jer comes into Infinity that there's just a lot of clicking going on. Every time you pass one of those checkpoints, there's a click. 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 So this is another thing that I haven't really talked about. With the lap system, there's really only 4 checkpoints. And it's the visible ones in the game. But some stages only have 2 checkpoints. And for those stages, it doesn't matter which way you go, as long as you touch the goalpost and then you touch the middle checkpoint. So if it's faster to go backwards, you're going to see our racers go backwards. And you're going to see this for sure on the last track of the first tour, which Fly is currently working on. 100% in 40 hours. Oh yes. That was an April Fool's task that I wrote using a bot. I used a bot that can play the game in real time and navigate through the menus, and it gets 9 gold medals on all, was it 16, 20? I don't remember how many unicycles there are, but it does it that many times. It's not optimized. It was there just for a joke. I've actually submitted a couple of joke tasks for Uniracers. One of them inputs the game credit sequence on the first viable frame. I created Alpha Uniracer. Oh yes. That's right. I trained a neural network to play Uniracer. No, I hard-coded some boxes and told it to jump in those boxes. It's a very simple bot. So this is normally what you'd consider the second level of the game. We're about 20 minutes in, so that menu optimization. I've also thought of submitting extraordinarily long April Fool's tasks that say, any percent best in-game time, and just like, cycle over the in-game timer. Like Bioforce Ape, for example, is a game you can do that. Flyhick sitting there, just chilling, checking to see if he's got any new Tinder matches since the last stunt track. And this one you can actually do all head bounces. I hope that's what Jared's going for right now. You can see the diminishing properties for each stunt. The only stunt that isn't affected by the diminishing returns is the tabletop. And the tabletop's points are determined by how many frames you hold the tabletop for. So if you hold it for 3 frames, then you get a 3-point tabletop. If you hold it for 12 frames, that's the maximum, you get a 12-point tabletop. So yes, Fly has an amazing goatee. I could never grow my beard that long. What happens if you wipe out? It just doesn't count as any points. It doesn't take any points away from you. It does, however, kill all boosts that you have. So if you stored up some boost, you wipe out, then it's all gone. So this track I really like. This is called Switcher, and Switcher, it's generally faster to stay along the top. However, it's pretty difficult to stay along the top. So, but you do have opportunities to swap back and forth between the top and the bottom. Jerry showing, it's better to jump and do stunts if you can. The arrows force you at a speed that's not even the fastest, like camera speed. So you don't want to be on the arrows as much as you can. And here we go on Monster. Flyheck doing the checkpoint glitch. It's important that you go through the start line and then go backwards. If you just go backwards, it's not going to count. Jared getting a few flips in there. It's a very, very difficult thing to do consistently. To go flip, twist, flip, twist, flip, twist on a straightaway. But it's definitely worth it. His flips give about, I want to say, an extra 50% more boost than rolls do. It's 192 versus 128, so someone else figure out the math. I think that's exactly 50%. I think about it. Infinite randomizer for this. So I've actually kind of looked into that when we were trying to come up with maps for this. We first wanted to try extracting the data from the game. Until we figured out just taking screenshots with a bot was much easier, and just like manually moving the camera around and then stitching that into a large PNG. The in-game maps are actually compressed. This game uses compression to put all of its map data in. So anything that would write a randomizer for this, and I'm not planning on writing another randomizer anytime soon in my life. But another randomizer would be, they'd have to take that all into consideration. I wrote my bot in Lua because that is the easiest way to interface with an emulator. As I said, it's a very simple bot. I'd simply define for each track, all right, here's a set of rectangles. If you're in the rectangle, jump. And if you're in the air, do a stunt. It just does tabletops all the way through. Easily beats the game. Actually has a better time in 9 golds than any human player does. So that's just these categories become more about consistency than anything else. Okay, so they're back on the same track again. I would be honestly surprised at this point. I don't know if the racers know where they are relative to each other, if they're listening into the commentary or not. But at this point, since we're so late in the race, I'd be kind of surprised to see things change in terms of positioning. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions about this game that maybe I haven't answered yet? Oh. If you do a lot of stunts, by the way, you may have noticed there are these sayings that have been popping up. Well, those sayings are actually unique per unicycle color. And, you know, there's some that's shared between, but the set that you particularly get is determined by the color of your unicycle. So, can I ride a unicycle this fast in real life? I cannot ride a unicycle in real life. I considered it briefly in college, but I guess I didn't want to be one of those guys. I don't know. When you said tire screeches, are you talking about the sounds that are made for each stunt? So each stunt has its own sound. Like roll has that like kind of, you know, almost one-up sort of sound. Comp sci major naturally, yeah. The unicycles are exactly the same. That being said, black is the best color, and white is the easiest to see on stream. So one of those two. Also, the white one is named Dave, so kind of naturally drawn to it. I said when I was a kid, I used to play Malcolm, which is the turquoise-colored unicycle. Oh, you know what? You're right. Okay, so I didn't even mention that at all. So at the start of the race, you can actually give yourself a boost start by holding the brake and the direction that you're going to go. You only really need to be holding it from about, 1.5 up to about half a second left. So yeah, that's the tire screeching. Right. And that gives you a little bit of a boost start. Very, very important for going fast, which, as we all know, is the point of every game, let alone Uniracers. There's an instruction manual for this game that actually tells you a lot of this information. It's a very funny read. I highly recommend looking through the instruction manual for this game because it is definitely something you don't see much anymore. You know, games have those like in-game tutorials, and it's a lot more dry and stuff like that. But the Uniracers handbook, find a PDF copy online somewhere, and you will not regret it. Yeah, printed paper instruction manual, and you'll never see it again because there's no way Nintendo's going to put this game on like the Nintendo eShop or whatever. Well, Earthbound was something else, let me tell you. I still remember the first time I saw the box for that game in a Blockbuster video. The box alone sells for what, like $100 now, right? Oh, this is this track right here, by the way. That shortcut, there's no way to make that shortcut faster than just playing it normally. Absolutely none whatsoever. Like, you get to skip all the goo and stuff, but there's no way you can actually go faster. Or maybe it wasn't this level. Maybe it was a different level. There's a couple of levels where the shortcuts are not desirable to take. Well, the thing is that Earthbound had probably the worst marketing campaign ever. Like, their slogan was literally, "This game stinks." It's worse than the Wii U. Stuff. The thing about retro game collecting, I mean, like, what are you gonna do if you buy that sealed copy of Earthbound? Are you gonna crack it open? Because you can just play Earthbound on your Switch now. Are you gonna resell it? Like, if you bought it way back when, are you gonna resell it now? Like, yeah, I mean, I already own a copy of Earthbound as well. I mean, you know, but it's not sealed. It's not, yeah. So at that point, you're just sort of like displaying it. I don't know. It's a very curious thing, like having collectibles for display purposes. You know, I have some Legos up on the shelf, but you know, my collection of video games is very much a functional collection. Like, I bought all the games that I want to play, right? So I do have some expensive titles in there, but you know, I don't display them except for as much, like, I have them on a shelf so I can grab the one I want, right? That's pretty much it. So we are coming up on the home stretch here. We are probably 3 to 5 minutes away from finishing. Fly is actually on his last track. Jump over, missing the jump. Fortunately, you can get out of a bowl like that. Oh no, I think he does jump over first in this tour when he plays, so it's a little more muddled. Or he does it out of order. Either that, he's really far ahead. Anyway, when you have a vertical like that, you can get out of the vertical by holding the jump button, the B button, and the direction you want to go, and that'll make your unicycle move while in the air. Oh, we got a draw on the stunt track. It's enough to count. So now I'm questioning myself. Yeah, I think Fly is actually on his last track here, and we're gonna see time on his end in about 15 seconds. Meanwhile, Jer's not too far behind. It looks like. Oh no, okay. Fly has 45 seconds left. He saved the stunt track for last. Just in case we failed on Circle, which I think is a very misleading name. So Fly with 32 seconds left on his clock. Jer running about a minute behind. So we'll just see how he does on this last track. Pixar already sued. It's too late. That's why we don't have Uniracers 2, The Revenge. And there he is. 36:18. That comes up to that is actually a new world record for the 6 bronze medals category. So congratulations to Fly on that. Jer, I think, is well on his way to a new personal best. So I think he'll be very pleased with his performance either way. I would. Running that last lap. That Peach is so hard to see against the blue background. It's my favorite track in the game by the music track. Is that last one that was playing there. 37:10. That beats his posted record on speedruns, speedrun.com by 14 seconds. Congratulations to both for both racers for new personal bests and a world record from Flyhack. And be sure to follow both of these players. They're, this game is a fun game to play. Easy to pick up. It's part of the Super 16 Marathon challenge. I don't know if we wrapped that up or if that's still going on. But definitely any excuse to play this game. There's some good multiplayer in it too. You can play with a friend if you ever sit down in the same room with anyone anymore. But congratulations to both our runners, and I think coming up next we have Congo's Caper with Markyard 44. I have been Deseret, and I appreciate you watching this. Stay tuned for more goodness.